President Trump is on his way to Arizona, a pandemic hot zone, to tour a stretch of rebuilt border wall in Yuma and to speak to a megachurch gathering of young Trump supporters in Phoenix. And joining me now is Phil Rucker, White House bureau chief for The Washington Post, and NBC's Jacob Soboroff in Yuma, Arizona. His forthcoming book is Separated: Inside an American Tragedy, looking, of course, at separations of migrant families by the Trump administration. Congratulations on that, Jacob. Let's talk about what's happening at the border. Jacob, first to you, the border wall, is it correct that 2 construction workers have been tested positive? So even there in a remote section of Arizona along the border, we're seeing that the virus has no borders.
You're spot on, Andrea, and that's why I'm wearing a mask here out in the middle of the Arizona desert. It's not a place that you would think you would need to wear a mask, despite the fact the coronavirus is raging across the country, but it is raging in no larger proportion than it is right here in Arizona. 2 workers, as you said, working on this very border wall that President Trump is coming to see, were diagnosed with the coronavirus, and that is the backdrop in which President Trump is arriving here in Arizona today. Make no mistake, this 30-foot border wall, 200-mile-long stretch, is a political victory, I suppose you could say, for the president. There's a lot of debate over whether it's replacement wall or new wall, but quite frankly, as someone who's spent a lot of time on the border and looked at it up close, this is going to make an impact, and it's going to make an impact, according to activists and advocates on behalf of migrants, in a way that pushes them to more dangerous and deadly places when they attempt to cross the border here into the United States. I had a Twitter exchange earlier today with Ken Cuccinelli, a top administration official in the Department of Homeland Security, that essentially said that is the point, and that's what the president wants to underscore here, but he's going to have a hard time doing it, cutting through all of the noise, all of the conversation about what the residents in this area are talking about right now, and that is the proliferation of the coronavirus, both from the United States but also from Mexico. And frankly, the virus that's in Mexico and is now coming back and forth likely came from here in the United States. The president wants to talk about how he's closed the borders. That is not the case. There is a lot of legitimate trade and travel that are going back and forth between Mexico and the U.S. Right here, including in the Yuma area in Arizona.
And I wanted to get to another point here, which is in Phoenix, those church leaders boasting about where the president's going to be speaking later today, boasting about a device they say can kill 99.9% of the virus in minutes, according to a post that they've now deleted. Let me share it with our viewers.
We've installed Clean Air EXP. We have a local Arizona company. It was technology developed by some members of our church, and we've installed these units, and it kills 99.9% of COVID within 10 minutes from independent testing.
It's ionization? Is that what
ionization. It's ionization of the air, and it takes particulates out, and COVID cannot live in that environment.
Phil, it would be laughable if it weren't so cruel. I mean, it looks like an SNL sequence or something, but it is a terribly misleading, it's terribly misleading video, and this is where the president is going today.
Yeah, these gentlemen are hosting the president at that church, and they've invited an estimated 3,000 people who are going to be inside there for this rally, which is aimed at galvanizing the president's young supporters in Arizona. But there is simply no scientific evidence to support the theory that they are pushing on that video, or the idea that you can somehow zap away the coronavirus through this technology. That technology does not exist, and there's no evidence or fact to support it.
Phil, I also want to ask you and ask Jacob to comment on the president's order freezing visas for foreign workers, with some exceptions, agricultural exceptions. But this affects hundreds of thousands of foreign workers. Businesses rely on them. The Chamber of Commerce is not happy about this at all, his business supporters. And it really impacts the earning power of a lot of people on both sides of the border.
That's exactly right. And this is an extension, Andrea, of restrictions that the president put in place pretty immediately when the pandemic hit, and it's extending these restrictions through the end of the year. A lot of advocates for immigrants view this as a pretty draconian measure that could have an impact on a lot of immigrant communities and immigrant workers in this country. But the administration argument has been that it's designed to help protect jobs during this recession for American citizens. But it is an example of the president taking advantage of the health crisis we're in right now to extend his immigration policies and enact, very conservative restrictions.
What is the impact there, Jacob?
Well, Phil's spot on. You know, under the cover of the coronavirus, the president has attempted to put in some of the most, in Phil's words, draconian immigration policies that limit people coming into this country. On the other side of the camera, you can't see it, but I'm looking at a massive farm here in Yuma. They rely on seasonal agricultural work, and that is exempted in this latest action. But don't forget, they may be exempted on that side of the border, but on this side of the border, directly into Mexico, asylum seekers by the tens of thousands are waiting there for their chance to get into the United States in order to declare asylum. Many who came during the coronavirus made it all the way to here and then were turned around and expelled directly back to the places from which they came. Throughout the Trump administration, whether it was family separations, which I saw myself, and I know a family, multiple families that were separated here in the Yuma sector, or the other immigration policies, the Trump administration has continually tried to institute more and more extreme immigration policies. And this visa action is just one in a long line of those, Andrea.
Jacob and Phil, thank you so much. Jacob, congratulations. We're all excited about the book, Separated. Thanks very much.
Thanks,
again.
Andrea.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.